Welcome to this video about what to do about frustration. There could be many sources of frustration, and some things we can change, some things we can't. Let's say if you're not being able to reach the goal or the destination that you've chosen because there's traffic, you can always choose to alter your route. But there are so many things which we can do nothing about, right? So how do we deal with situations where we do not have any control, and how do we deal with the experience of frustration that we have on day-to-day basis? I will give you a couple of tips about this, but I would also advise you to go to our video section and see all the experiential videos which will help you to reduce the frequency and intensity of the frustration that you experience. Now let's look at a couple of realistic things that we can practice in our daily life. One is we recognize that a situation may be frustrating, irritating, but we essentially are separate and we don't need to feel frustrated or agitated about the situation. The situation may be tough, but we in ourselves have a choice about how to respond to the situation. And we can choose not to get frustrated. We can choose to deal objectively with the situation, or we can choose to get into a problem-solving mindset. Second, while dealing with a situation where you cannot do anything, or dealing with a situation where you're feeling typically frustrated, it is important to remember the serenity prayer. Give me the courage to change what I can, to accept what I cannot change, and the wisdom to understand the difference between both. It is very important to recognize this difference. There are situations which feel helpless, but we can do something about it. There are situations where we really want to do something, but there is nothing that we can do. There is no physical aspect of the situation which we can change. And the difference between both needs to be understood or needs to be perceived by us. And if we can really do something about the situation, then we need to have the ability, the courage to go and change the situation rather than just be passively feeling like a victim of the situation. It's very easy to fall into that victim mindset, to fall into the helpless scenario or state of mind where we say, nothing is working out, I can't do anything, God is not letting me move forward. This happens a lot when we face a couple of things that are frustrating us. But once we see what is the goal, why we are getting frustrated, we can then figure out if we can find an alternative solution. And if we can't, then a lot of times acceptance is the key. Accepting that the situation is beyond your control and you cannot change it is very helpful to avoid the constant feeling of frustration. 3, there are things that we hope for, but there are realities to that hope. We may hope that this project gets finished in 10 days, but the reality is that it may stretch beyond 30 days or 40 days. So it is helpful to remember that what we hope for, wish for, what will happen in reality, that is what is realistic, is going to be different. Our hope should be high. We should hope for the best, but prepare for the worst. So in our mind, we should have an idea of what is realistic and what all may go wrong. When we have this kind of 3 scenarios, then the frustration that we experience becomes lesser, because whatever is happening is within our expectation realm. We do not feel completely helpless or completely taken aback. So whenever there is a goal, hope what is realistic and what all may go wrong, or what is the worst case scenario. This understanding really helps to deal with the intensity or frequency of frustration that we experience. 4, life has ups and downs. If we understand this aspect, then our expectation or our goal of happiness is not absolute. Remember, in one of the previous videos, we talked about how happiness is one of the goals that every individual has, right? But happiness all the time, every second of the day, 24/7 is not possible. There will be times when we'll be sad, angry, upset, things will go our way at one time, things will not go our way at one time. That's how life is. And if we accept this, then we feel less frustrated every time that happiness goal is hindered. A lot of times our frustration is just with the fact that life is not going how we have planned it, how we have thought about it, or how it should in our mind go. But when we accept that life will be like a wave, sometimes great, sometimes not so great, then again it's within the realm of our expectation, and then the kind of frustration that we build up, or the frequency of frustration which we build up with our life, with us, with people around us, automatically becomes lesser. The last point is a very practical point, that when we expect something to be challenging, the frustration becomes much lesser when the challenges happen. So if we know beforehand that this goal is going to be challenging, so we have hoped for this goal, it is a best case scenario goal, but it's a difficult one, it's something which is going to be an uphill journey. When we know about it, then when we are going through that uphill journey, we don't tend to get frustrated, we don't see it as a roadblock, because that's an expectation. Roadblock is something which stops your path ahead. But when you know it's going to be an uphill journey, you don't see the path which is difficult as a roadblock, rather you expect it and you move forward with it. You just see it as a healthy challenge. And that reduces the level of frustration that you will feel with the difficulties that you're going to experience on this uphill journey. So whenever you're making a goal, it's great to make goals that are way above what you previously have thought, or are big, or are maybe to other people seem unachievable, but they are in your opinion achievable. It's absolutely great to form those goals, because sky is the limit when you put your mind and heart to it. But when you do make a goal, it's very, very important, and definitely do make a realistic idea of what the path to it will look like. If it's a big goal and it's going to be a difficult path, don't tell yourself that it's an easy path, because then halfway around you'll feel frustrated and give up. Tell yourself that yes, it's a difficult journey, these are all the challenges that I will face, and this is how I will face it. Whenever you're going to do something big, or you feel you're going to enter into a new path which is going to be challenging and difficult, it's always helpful to tell yourself and acknowledge and admit the challenges that are about to come for you, because at that point you acknowledge them as merely milestones of moving ahead, rather than seeing them as roadblocks. I hope this video has been helpful. For other things where you can do some kind of activity and experiences to help you with your frustration, or even identify the triggers of frustration, identify the basis of why you're feeling certain negative emotions or feelings of frustration towards a person, place, thing, or some kind of an activity that you're doing, please go through our videos.